powerful in the metagame and just distribute those 1 per player to each of your 4 and just always pick those 4 unless there's a hard counter available from the other class that you end up with. That's just 2 of the many ways that you could come at this, but as you said, Warrior and Paladin going together definitely seems interesting, and I was going to suggest it probably means that the Warrior is Pirates, because having 2 slow, grindy control decks up, that are both very powerful in the same lineup doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to me.
No, same with me. And it's this looks interesting already. Team Bulgaria here on the Rogue. Firefly, which is a huge nod to Quest Rogue, but doesn't have it in the opening hand. So this is, in fact, not Quest Rogue. And with the Glaco Crawler as well, I would hasten to guess that this is Aggro Rogue. Or Tempo Rogue, I don't know what you want to call it.
Well, as I mentioned, Orange posted a list recently that cut out patches, cut out all the pirates that go alongside patches, including Swashbuckler, and was replacing them with Fireflies specifically. Because when you think about Firefly, it's got so much going for it in almost any class, but in
Rogue, good job.
In Rogue's,
it's got good education. It's making its leap in Hearthstone this year.
It's got great prospects, is all I'm saying. But in Rogue in particular, it's great just as a 1-mana 1/2 that generates an extra body. But that extra body is just a 1-mana card that can always function as a combo activator. Now that we see the Huckster, that is the nod to say this probably is just a more tempo-based Rogue deck. Yeah. But just because we see the Firefly, that definitely doesn't rule out that it was still a miracle strategy.
It's something we've discussed over the last few days as well. Like, Firefly was very interesting where everyone knew, like, this will be good in elemental decks, right? It's 2 cheap 1-drops to proc elemental synergy. And then it was like, oh, this card's actually just good. You could probably put Firefly in any deck and it not perform too badly.
Right.
Like, it's that good.
There's actually a really interesting snowball effect that happened where early on, people were playing Argent Squire as a 1-drop in some of the board-focused decks. Looking at Aggro Druid, Zoo, some of the early lists had Argent Squire in it as well. But then people realized that when you match up your Argent Squire against someone else's Firefly, you're gonna have a bad time. So all of these people went, okay, Argent Squire isn't that good as a 1-drop, what do I play instead? Well, you play Firefly. Yeah, so that's how we've ended up with this situation where kind of every deck has just ended up playing Firefly, because Firefly in itself is so efficient that it preys on a lot of the other formerly very resilient 1-drop minions.
Yeah, and already look at the problems it's giving Ray here. It's like, oh, well, as my Pirate Warrior against Rogue, I equip weapon and pass.
Yes.
Seems like a weird start to me. Bulgaria now, those guys are actually now going to rock an Argent Squire as well. So if we didn't know for sure, pretty confident this is Tempo/Aggro Rogue.
Yeah, the Huckster sold me, but Argent Squire is pretty much the quintessential Aggro Rogue card, which, although I mentioned Firefly forcing Squire out of the meta more or less, when you have the card Cold Blood in your deck, Argent Squire becomes a lot more appealing as an option.
And if you're playing Argent Squire in a Rogue deck, you probably want the Firefly as well.
Yes.
Okay, 2 Mortal Strikes.
Wow.
For Ray.
That's
That is something we are definitely not used to seeing. In Pirate Warrior, even like newer forms Pirate Warrior, normally more minion-based of a Zoo style. As we mentioned before, like Captain, South Sea Captain is actually one of the higher win rate cards in the deck. And that's good because of having minions on board.
Right.
So now this seems highly aggressive. Arcanite Reaper, double Mortal Strike, deckhand available.
Yeah, and this has been the evolution of Pirate Warrior from kind of a gimmick deck that stole some wins off people to one of the most impressive decks over the last 6 months or so, is when it switched to be more board-focused and more minion-focused. When it was just equip weapons, go face, Wolf Rider, go face, Argent Horse Rider, go face. When that was the game plan and you just finished that off with double Mortal Strike, it was very hit or miss. But then as soon as we switched to just developing board presence with Pirates, using upgraded weapons for board control, and then snowballing that with South Sea Captains and Frothing Berserkers, that's when suddenly the deck became incredibly successful. So having now drawn this kind of hand that doesn't do that too well means he's now a long way behind, potentially, against this Tempo Rogue start from Bulgaria.
Look at this trading going on here. This is no smoke, Pirate Warrior. Versus this Rogue, though, I think it's completely valid, as Aggro Rogue can often run out of juice. Whereas their draws are normally low value minions, versus your draws as Pirate Warrior are normally either burst damage, weapons, or pirates, which you can normally combo together anyway. So running them out of this kind of resource could actually be pretty reasonable.
Huh. So the fact that the Swashbuckler got drawn, I was expecting almost certainly to see the Crawler come down here to try and curve out with it. That Cornered Sentry was interesting, but Bulgaria actually instead going for the even slower play with the dagger, and this is about not just wanting to hit the first pirate that becomes available, they want to hit one of the important pirates.
Yes.
Yeah, they want to stop a Naga Corsair from hitting them in the face. They want to shut down South Sea Captain from getting a bunch of board presence. They want to make sure that Arcanite Reaper Bloodsail Corsair doesn't happen and the 7-3 just gets to smack you. And so they're just passing up just a little bit of early game tempo right now, just to make sure they have answers to some of the most threatening cards that Pirate Warrior runs.
Yeah, I do love it. Crawler does just insta-kill a minion with Pirate as a tag. Doesn't matter how big it is, how small it is, it just kills it, gobbles it up, and saving it for a big turn. Like you said, of the cards you listed, is absolutely huge. Cold Blood now available as well.
Yeah, and I wonder what the initial plan was, because this is kind of the end of my thought, is that as soon as he drew that Cornered Sentry off the Swashbuckler, suddenly this play where you daggered up got a lot better, because over a 2-turn plan, it allows you to get an uncontested 2-6 taunt in play alongside your Huckster. So I wonder if his original plan was to play the Crawler just to really dominate the tempo, and then having seen that Cornered Sentry, they just made a quick pivot to this play, which has now put them in a super dominant board position.
Yeah, this is very nice. I think there was a slight look of dismay as Ray muttered something to his teammates when the Cornered Sentry came down. It's like, what? What's going on? Especially, as you said, with the clear on the Raptors is pretty huge. Corcoran Elite kind of clean it up very nicely with that attack, still survive, and then go for a weapon swing. It does get cleaned up by the Huckster, though. Maybe that's just what you have to do at this point. You need to open up space. I don't expect outside Argus, maybe. The Rogue has any taunts, right? So you want to get rid of this one, then you have Arcanite Reaper, Mortal Strike.
5-10, if you get the Mortal Strikes to do 6 each, that's 22, Corcoran's 26. I mean, you're getting there.
Yeah, I mean, you could even use Arcanite Reaper to dominate the board and defend the Frothing Berserker, right? Which then can just get into silly amounts of damage.
Yep. But it's a matter of, how many turns you have here. And of course, the Corcoran isn't counted in that damage since you're using it here to clear out the taunt. So it's definitely going to be ambitious if he's deciding to just go straight out face from here. I think he definitely does have to continue to fight from board control from this position, and that Huckster is a lovely pickup to combo the SI agent, because he would not have wanted to play the Crawler on this board with how high value a card that is.
Yeah. The Cold Blood wouldn't have been a complete nightmare, I don't think. I think as long as you have board control, and
that's fair.
Best Dude is still on 28, so you can just take the 2 damage, not the 4 from the Cold Blood, get the SI down and clean it up like that. Push for 4 this turn. But yeah, the Huckster, of course, makes this very, very nice indeed.
Expect to see Huckster and SI come out this turn. I don't really see anything that really sticks, but he's going to go Cold Blood and Dagger the 4-1. This is a very interesting race potential he's setting up here. Does take 4 extra damage, but at the cost of pushing 6. I think this play wins the game very often. I think Huckster SI also wins the game very often. It's a matter of, which one of them you do want to call the high-risk play. This one ends the game a little bit quicker, but you take a little bit of extra damage in the process. So swings and roundabouts, more or less.
Yeah, this could be a huge turn here now for Best Dude as the follow-up from Ray. If Ray goes for the Arcanite Reaper, cleans up the one or the other, basically. I think you have to commit to kind of 6-2.
Yeah.
And then goes Dread Corsair, then just Crawler.
Yes.
Crawler and Tressai, get him. I'm going to be feeling pretty good. Plus, there's an additional card that he'll get from the Huckster as well. So it's definitely Best Dude here, putting himself in a very strong position.
And Ray now has to consider whether that 3-3 body on the board is worth paying the 6 life, because Bulgaria have just sent a very clear signal that they're looking to race here, and taking another 6 damage yourself is kind of helping them achieve that race. So he could go ahead and just Mortal Strike the 6-2, but then the price you're paying for that is just the complete lack of board development, which means over the course of a couple of turns, you probably end up taking more than that 6 anyway by the fact that you're not fighting from the board.
You don't have a weapon equipped, you can't play the Corsair. If you do the same next turn, then yeah, you probably take the same damage again. I do like this play. It's going to get absolutely demolished, though. Eviscerate opening as well.
This is going to be very useful as potential game-ending damage in the future. He can go Crawler here and SI face. That does push him below 12, but on 6 mana at 24, there's no way you're receiving game-ending damage, even if you do put them below 12. So if you Crawler the Taunt and you SI face, you're putting him down to 11. You then have, what, 5-8 power in board, plus a comboed Eviscerate next turn, which you can always combo with the Grime Street Informant. That adds up to roundabout lethal to me.
Yeah, I think that's the key as well. Not playing the Informant this turn and, using the SI means you push more damage and you can guarantee the combo, whereas if you just, like, Informant this turn to try and go for something, hit nothing, and then just drop, like, SI and be like, eh.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't really achieve much. This is way, way better. And even with those Maul Strikes glowing yellow, they do not do 24 damage between them. Never mind, they couldn't be cast.
Yes, they do not cost 3 each, and they don't do 12 damage each. Those are the crucial informations right now.
They could do 9.5 damage each.
They could, that's fair. But
is it fair?
even, I mean, going down the line here, which you kind of have to survive, of just starting to Mortal Strike some minions, it's an incredibly low win rate play, let's put it that way. It's higher than 0, which you probably have if you do it any other way, but still. Can Ray find something better here? He's developing the minions and hoping there is literally 0 damage in your opponent's hand, the maximum win rate play in this situation.
Yeah, it needs to be 1 damage, sorry, available if you develop both minions. I wouldn't even mind it that much because
You're
it
just
just
so
doesn't change much, right?
Right.
Maybe, and because those minions are Frothing Berserker Captain,
yeah.
maybe if they live, you can go nuts, like in the next turn or so. That is still an extremely long shot. You see Ray there just, seems to be medium to high spirits, even though this has not gone his way at all. Grime Street Informant. Gonna give him some options. There's a Mortal Strike.
There is indeed, but it can't be combined with the Eviscerate this turn, having already spent the 2 mana.
Okay.
I mean, you take it, because it's lethal over 2 turns, and again, you're not going to die from 24, so I definitely like the Mortal Strike in this spot.
Yeah. Seems reasonable to me. Yeah. Okay, playing the Abyss this turn.
Yep. No reason.
There's no way he gains the extra armor, right?
If anything, spending it this turn means if there is some kind of weird play...
Shield block.
Right,
I
yeah,
didn't expect this.
Exactly. Then that means you have more mana available on the next turn to do more things involving playing Mortal Strike alongside your top deck as well. So, makes sense.
Best dude is dad maybe in the background. Just like, oh, how's it going? Yeah, I'm just wrecking some people at Hearthstone, it's fine.
Yeah.
Repping the country.
Dad, trying to represent my country.
It is, but she's shaking his head like,
jeez.
I told you I was playing a game. Sounds like pause it, tea's ready.
When I hang the sock on the door, it means don't come in, all right?
Too far.
All right.
Too real. Yeah. I probably just told him to pause it and get his chores done. You cannot pause an online game. I remember those arguments. Just pause it. No! Doesn't work like that.
Eventually. We are fast approaching the generation of parents that understand you cannot pause an online game.
Yeah. Okay, well, Sleep with the Fishes is a good answer to the Go Chronically. Not like Best Udo, you needed it. Mortal Strike is going to clean up this game. He's just thinking of how exactly he wants to aim this Mortal Strike. Yeah, at the face.
Seems like a good plan, yeah.
Seems reasonable to me. And that's going to be Bulgaria going 1-0 up over Switzerland. Best you taking a aggro rogue burst. But instead, it's your favorite. Your wishes have been granted, Sado. It's going to be aggro druid, Eggnapper, Bluegill Warrior, Power of the Wild, but most importantly, I think one of your favorite cards from the set, right? Is Living Mana.
Living Mana is absolutely one of my favorite cards of the set. Yeah, I predicted it was going to be strong. I kind of picked it out as a sleeper card that people were underestimating in an article that I wrote as well. And yeah, it's proven to be the case. We saw, I think, on week 1. Like, obviously, Living Mana is fantastic when, you're ahead, you've got a couple of minions on board, then all of a sudden you summon 5 2/2s to go alongside that. Of course, that's going to be great. What we saw from Kalento, though, was Living Mana win a game where it looked like it was completely hopeless.
Yes.
He looked like he had 0 outs. He'd lost the board completely with an aggro deck, drew Living Mana, made 6 or 7 2/2s, whatever it was, and won the game.
Well, that's
just the power of the card.
You can't... A lot of the time, you have to take a step back from cards to understand how strong they can be.
Yeah.
1 card makes 7 minions.
Correct. Yes.
If I told you that without telling you the card, you'd be like, that sounds insane.
Right.
Right? And that's just how good it is. It's 1 card that makes 7 minions, and the minions aren't 1/1s, which is key as well.
It makes 5 to 7 1-mana 2/2s. That's what it does.
Yeah.
It's Enchanted Raven 5 to 7 times in a single card.
And everyone knows they want more Enchanted Ravens
Exactly.
5 or 7 times.
Obviously, there's massive downsides, but I think the thing that people very quickly realized as well is that you can't ignore those 2/2s too often. You are kind of obligated to trade power off the board, because even if they've living mannered and thrown away all of the mana they have available, they're going to have 1 mana the next turn, which is the right amount that you need to cast a card called Mark of the Lotus, which is going to end the game if they have that many 2/2s on the board.
Yeah, I got upset the other day. I played Living Mana for the first time in a while.
Mhm.
Well, it sounds in a while. Cards have not been out too long, but
Yeah.
I've just not played a lot of Druid. Played Living Mana. It was turn 6 or 7. My priest opponent mass dispelled and then cleared.
Yes.
I was like,
There
I'm
are...
starting the game from scratch.
Right.
They start the game on 8 mana with like 8 cards in hand.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are significant downsides. Priest is pretty much the king. You know, Master Spell isn't being played too often, but even just Potion of Madness is a big, big hit, because they get the ramp, you lose one of your mana crystals coming back, but most classes don't have a way to deal with it apart from just killing them and giving you the mana.
The only benefit was I took solace in the fact that he actually put Master Spell in his deck, which means he's probably losing his next game on ladder.
Right.
But yeah, it was
I think that means you're winning in the long run.
Yeah, exactly. You may have won the battle, but I win the war. But moving on to this game, we have Firefly, Flame Elementals as well hitting the board. Just fantastic minions. We've talked about them a lot today. And at just good old-fashioned value. Whereas Bulgaria, their opening hand is okay, but it feels like there's a lot of synergy requirements going on, but not enough of one synergy.
Yeah, and you saw deliberately Bulgaria holding out from playing the 1-drop on 1, A, because it just wasn't particularly competitive against the Firefly, and B, because they needed to make this turn happen to make sure the Ravasor runt hit the board. Really looking for something that sticks this runt to the board, because they can have a Mark of Yasharaj follow-up next turn. Not the big plays, doesn't have the +3 health, doesn't have the untargetable, the stealth, which would have been the 2 dream options to really maximize the chances of getting that mark down. So
Divine Shield feels as reasonable as it's going to get here.
Divine Shield and +1/+1, pretty much the same thing, more or less. One's a little better against Lightning Storm.
Sure.
Yeah. Alright, seems good.
Still tough though, because there is just factually enough damage on board to proc the shield and kill the run, if so afraid of it. Maelstrom plus patches makes that even better. And you must be feeling fantastic if you're a P.E.K.K.A here at this point. You know you're against an aggressive druid. You can just clear quite easily at this point, and you still have double J Lightning for anything that comes down next turn.
I would expect a double trade onto the 2/2 here. I think you're very much of the opinion as the Shaman player here that you're going to win the long game, so you just need to stop.
Just clear the board.
Yeah, you just need to stop the power turns from happening, and the power turns happen when you leave minions in play and when you particularly leave beasts in play. So I'd imagine we're going to see the triple trade come out here, and probably just another Flame Elemental following up. The interesting thing that we haven't really talked about from Switzerland Shaman here is that we have seen patches get drawn, which means this is most likely a more aggressive or at least pure mid-range version of Shaman as opposed to a elemental deck.
Yeah, I think to be asking for the Corsairs to be played. Are the Corsairs that break the weapons?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not making that up, right? For the Corsairs to be played in just an elemental deck is a big ask. There is not a lot of space in element Shaman, so I think you're right. This is probably aggressive. We've seen double Jade Lightning in hand as well. So, yeah, we'll see what comes out from the Team Switzerland here for the Shaman list. But so far, Bulgaria is kind of struggling to be able to keep something on the board. Even this Egg Napper gets fully cleared up by the board here, and as does the Murloc War Leader. So what do you even do? Hero Power down the Voodoo? It's tough.
Doesn't feel great, does it? But, I mean,
nothing does.
Any minion that you play is essentially just doing that same job as just trading for the 2/1. Eggnapper can do a little bit more than that because of the tokens, but still not a great feeling. And yeah, Argent Squire being drawn as well now, suggesting that this is a very early game focused, aggressive Shaman deck. And classically, before the nerfs, or before the set rotation, Aggro Shaman was kind of the king of the aggro mirrors. If it was Aggro Shaman versus a different aggro deck, it was probably Aggro Shaman favored, because they were able to just leverage board positions much better with cards like Flame Tongue. They had more value in the deck if it went to a big grind fest. Feral Spirit's absolutely backbreaking, as well as Stoneclaw Totem. So Classically, as well as Maelstrom Portal, which I guess we didn't even mention just then. So classically, Shamans, aggressive Shamans, really, really effective in these kinds of matchups. Haven't played against too much aggro Shaman with the deck myself, but I can't see any reason why this would be too different in the new meta.
No, me neither. This looks pretty good to me. I'll be interested to see if Pekka actually clears this Egnap or just chooses to leave it up. It doesn't exactly trade well versus anything on the board.
No, it's true.
It does look like is he gonna? He has to clear the beast, right? You cannot trade and not clear the beast here.
Well, leaving the 2/1/1s up is almost just worse than leaving the 3/1 up.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. Okay, so we are gonna see the trade. So Pekka taking no chances here.
Ooh.
Second War Leader drawn does absolutely nothing. And with us being able to see with our godlike caster vision, with the double Jade Lightning in hand, anything Golem plays is dead and going to be a token generated.
Except 5 2/2s, which he can play next turn. That's not very easy for his opponent to clear right now. So again, this is a matchup that is
Living Mana might.
completely hopeless, but Living Mana still might just be good enough to get you there. It really does depend on Switzerland's next draw in this state, because I think this Jade Lightning is still only a 1/1. So even if Jade Lightning is cast this turn, it's not going to contest one of the Mana Treants.
Yeah, it's definitely is still a 1/1 yet. We're not seeing any more Jades. So Camera Twilight might now be an option. It's more on curve. And I wouldn't mind that. I think you can just take 3 damage here.
Seems good.
Yeah. Means you've got a good chance of killing any of the beefier, end of the scale in terms of the aggro druid. Not sure exactly what they run at the top end. I mean, some go as far as like Curator, right?
Yes. Generally, those versions I haven't seen be too successful.
Yeah.
I tried them out. They weren't great for me. And I also haven't really heard of too many other people having massive success with them. The more aggressive lists basically top out at 5, and it's some combination of 2 or 3 copies of Living Mana and Bittertide Hydra that are your finishers, as well as obviously Finger in this version that's playing the War Leaders.
I mean, Living Mana seems reasonable to me. You might just have to.
The Innovate draw is actually really big here. Because it allows you, right now you have no turn next turn if you're Living Mana, because you don't have a 1 mana play in hand, but the Innovate actually allows you to potentially get value out of Savage Roar. The only issue is that Savage Roar next turn is only going to be pushing damage, and it's not going to represent lethal, I don't believe, right? 10 plus 10 plus 2 is 22? Should be the damage it causes, right? 5 or 5 4s plus 2 if you want to look at it that way. So it wouldn't be representing lethal, and since all the board he's facing down is small tokens, it's not like Savage Roar to trade is really effective tempo or anything like that either. So, but honestly, end of the day, you're so far behind, you just have to play the best card in your deck and hope it gets there, and that is Living Mana.
Saucy Deckhand is going to help clear these up now, as that was the struggle, right? All these minions on board for Pekka are 1 attack. So then, you know, they actually trade very well into these.
Yep.
Well, sorry, the Trents trade very well into these minions.
Yep.
But the Deckhand's going to help clear it 1. He can still Jade Lightning another weapon or 1 more. He can actually just fully clear the board. Does mean he only ends up with a 1/1 and the Elemental on the board, but maybe that isn't so bad.
Yeah, as a general rule, when you can afford to do so, let them make the trades on their turn, so because you don't get the mana back immediately as full crystals when you trade on your turn, so it actually still blocks you from developing. But the problem, as you said, is that if Switzerland don't take efficient trades this turn on their own terms, every single one of these treants just value trades into something on the board. There's no Maelstrom Portal in hand. It was used early. There's no Lightning Storm in this deck.
The problem is Power of the Wild, Solar Forest, Savage Roar. You know, you're just giving them... They're making cards that are actually bad in their hand, which you've probably got a reasonable read that some of them are at this point. You're making them good by not trading.
So
he's going face?
Pekka, has he counted a potential 2-turn lethal here? Because he can go face completely... And that leaves him with 4 plus 8, 10 damage the next turn. Interesting.
I'm surprised he didn't attack. Because he can Jade Lightning, Jade Claws, Deckhand next turn.
Well, the 4/2 doesn't do anything on the board, right? It just eats a treant.
Yeah, but I mean, if he draws Jade Claws now.
Oh, I see.
It's just blown 2 damage.
Sure.
It's like, whereas he can actually fit it in next turn. And it still procs the... I know it doesn't proc the Deckhand attack.
Right.
If he doesn't draw a Jade Claws, so that's the reason why he's held on to it.
Yes.
But I don't know. I feel like if your opponent's trading with you and you're still pushing damage, you've got another turn to draw again. So
There's also the fact that right now he's actually done this very intelligently because he didn't want to load anything onto the board that these treants can trade into. He's actually happy
It doesn't want the mana.
with the fact that you can have this much power on board, but I'm going to say to you, you can't cast Savage Roar, you can't cast Power of the Wild. He doesn't know there's an Innovate there as well that would make those things possible, but he doesn't want targets in play that Bulgaria can trade into and get mana back from the following turn, because he knows things like Defender of Argus can actually put a stop to his plans right now. And right now, from Switzerland's perspective, there won't be mana available to play that anytime soon, although we can see with Magical Caster Vision that Innovate can make it happen on the very next turn.
Yep. So now there's an Unbound Elemental. Part of the list we've seen from Aggro Shaman is the Unbounds. It's a bit of a strange one to me, at least. I think there might just be better cards, but...
Reynad's favorite card. Every time he builds Aggro Shaman, doesn't matter what the meta is, Unbound just goes in there. He swears it's just the nuts.
Well, the huge benefit of it is it gains health as well as attack, right? So there are minions that gain +1/+1 can kind of run away with games, right? Because they just get too big. Secret Keeper.
Yes.
Is a good example of
Undertaker.
Undertaker back in the old days is another good example because they get bigger than they should be allowed to be, right, for their mana cost. But in this deck, I mean, we've still not seen the Overload cards. I imagine there's Lava Burst, Lightning Bolts, even Jade Claws.
The difference is, Tunnel Trog was effective because, you can overload with an Earth Elemental on Unbound Elemental. It still only gains +1/+1. It's just every time you overload. Yeah. Whereas, Tunnel Trog, the more you overload it, the more you gain from it, right? Which is what made it so effective.
Okay. Just going to go for it. Pekka from Switzerland here just committing to the plan. Spent the time to discuss with his teammates, no doubt, but he kind of committed to this plan last turn. It would be weird to change now. Mark of Yasharaj, not going to change too much. Innovate into Defender of Argus with trades. Post-trade, I guess. It's going to be the idea here. Does he ever aim the Argus onto the 2/2? Just to give it as much health and not trade with that one.
Yeah, if you're Argusing, you for sure want it on the one that has 2 health, but you can make 3 trades here into the 2/4 and get yourself 3 more mana back for the next turn. Savage Roar, again, doesn't just quite get there. It is available with the Innovate, of course, but as we mentioned right before he even played Living Mana, it wasn't a lethal setup with the Savage Roar. Double Mark of Yasharaj drawn as well now, so he has a lot of damage to put together when he gets some of this mana back, and it looks... it's such a deceptive card as well, Living Mana, because it looks like he's been struggling immensely since the turn he's played this, but it's the only reason he has any shot of winning this game.
Yeah. If he didn't draw this card, he would be dead. Like, pretty straightforward there. If it was any other card in the deck that isn't the other Living Mana, he would just be dead at this point.
Oh, the Portal is a savage pickup for Switzerland. Bulgaria took the risk of making a less resilient competitive board state, leaving the Unbound alive instead of full trading, just to potentially set up that Savage Roar lethal out, but it exposed them to this Maelstrom Portal here, and that could just be one card too far for Bulgaria to be able to recover from.
He's going to have a lot of mana for Golem next turn, but as you said...
7. 7's a lot.
7 is a lot. But he's not got a lot to do with the mana.
No.
Savage Roar's dead. Savage Roar been pretty dead up until, potentially that next turn. But the Mark of Yasharaj have got nothing done. The second War Leader, nothing done. All down to not having the mana available. But as you quite rightly said, without Living Mana, this game was over 2 turns ago, probably.
Yep. Maybe Shellshifter can get him there if he draws Shellshifter, just because he can make it a 3/5 taunt and then slam some marks on it. Both of the transformed forms of Shellshifter are beasts, so he would get full value out of the mark as well.
So really, you should go stealth and just OTK with the Savage Roar turn up.
Well, he is a little bit concerned about just dying.
A little bit. Okay, 4 damage, going to spawn the Elemental as well. Plenty of damage on the board for Pekka, and this Druidless is not known for its ability to clear a board. Let's see what this draw is for Golem. Egg Napper, not going to do it, and I believe that is just game.
Staring back at 8, can only get himself up to 7, so it's looking pretty unfortunate for me. No way to draw cards. He has a Murloc and a weird thing that spawns plants in his hand, so Mark of Yasharaj is going to be dead as well.
A weird thing that spawns plants in his hand.
Yeah. Eggnapper spawns 2... Oh, it's Raptors, right? Yeah, my bad.
Okay, Sol's grasp on the card art / lore and investigate this format. But we are going to be going into game 3 now. The players are ready. Silent Storm versus Dark. Silent Storm appears to be a freeze mage to me. Blizzard Ice Block and Acolyte of Pain, normal indicators, whereas Dark looks to be on a Zoo Warlock.
Yeah, so no great surprise. As I said, I would be surprised if this was another control Warlock to go along in the position in the lineup that this was for Switzerland. So no great surprise to be seeing Zoo, and for different reasons, no great surprise seeing Freeze Mage either, just because it's overall power level right now. And I imagine, you know, Acolyte of Pain used to be a borderline keep in some matchups, but I think these days you have so many extra good minions to draw early.
Like
you know,
those.
Right, Doomsayer, Medivh's Valet, Arcanologist in particular. Glyph is not the worst thing in the world if you have to spend 2 mana on it in the early game. That, you know, you can mulligan much more aggressively with this version of Freeze Mage than you ever used to be able to, because you have such consistency with hitting a 2-drop now.
Yeah, and I think as well, this version of Freeze Mage is potentially even better versus Zoo than the old version, because you have less hard combo potential, but more, like you said, minions. There's the Arcanologist, the Valet, for example, and even Primordial Glyph suddenly, you know, creates a card that may be perfect for you to deal with the current board situation, as opposed to saying, well, this is what I've got all the time.
Right. For example, if you Glyph on 2 and take any secret, that gives you a Valet on 3. You can just go 1 mana secret that got discounted and the Valet on 3, and you're just away. From there, that's just a huge tempo swing straight away against Zoo that can just really help
almost
you
no
to
matter what the secret is as well, which is funny.
Yeah. Well, you're activating it instantly, so it literally is any secret. You literally just go 1 mana secret.
Yeah, I mean, like, most secrets will even help you get further ahead going forward as well, so it doesn't even matter if you get, like, a bad one, so to speak. It's still going to help, and it's almost free as well.
Having seen the coin double 1s here from Switzerland, the Doomsayer might be tempting, though. Yes, it still leaves that 1/1 death rattle around on the board, but if he starts to do other things apart from Doomsayer, then the amount of power on the board just starts to increase exponentially, and that Doomsayer just gets challenged instantly, and he's, you know, in a position where he probably needs to pair Frost Nova with it at some point. So Doomsayer wouldn't surprise me here, but that Glyph Valet setup is also very appealing.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I always would like to see this kind of play, the Doomsayer, because it's one of those moments where you won one in a series, right? You have one game to play. You know, you don't want to get, like, cheesed by something. Do you know what I mean? Like, you play the Doomsayer, it's relatively safe. I don't think there's anything that really punishes this. And then, at worst, you can always just ping next turn off the 1/1 if you're that afraid. Or start to try and develop the Glyph, or even the Ice Barrier at this point. I would rather do that than kind of make a risky play, miss the secret, and then suddenly I'm like, oh no, let's start to build up a board and fall behind.
It's a dangerous line of thinking, though, to say, oh, you know, I only have to play 1 game, I'm going to play extra safe. You know, plays don't have inherent personalities of being safe.
No. I mean, versus Zoo can run away with the board, right? Whereas you have the opportunity to easily lock down the board without doing anything fancy. So I would always go for that kind of play instead of getting, like, cheesed out. And there is a mindset where, because the players, this is their game. Silent Storm is playing 1 game today, I think, unless it's the ace match. But, you know, 1 game to get a 1 point on the board for your team.
Yeah.
So I think that level of pressure will actually get to people.
I think it will, yeah, but I think it's something to be avoided.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's correct. Yeah, I'm not
saying it's correct. If you're getting into a mindset of saying, oh god, I'm going to play safe here because I don't want to lose my 1 game, that's probably just leading you down an alley of making the wrong play. So you need to get that kind of thinking out of your mind and just make what is the statistically best play. And I think Doomsayer was correct there because it was just statistically the best play.
Okay, so you're going to see Glyph. The option is another Glyph, Polymorph Potion, or Shatter.
Glyph him.
Glyph him again.
Yeah, rebuy. He's got to the point now where he can bury a Valet in the same turn anyway, so the secret just doesn't really have any appeal at this point. There we go. 4 mana Blizzard is looking a little bit more appealing. He could take the Frostbolt right now to deny the Direwolf, but the Direwolf is his guaranteed Valet target next turn. Even if it gets Defender of August, it's still clean.
Yeah, he could have gone for the 8 mana Pyroblast, but that would just be silly. Just to let's go through all the options here. We're showing no option bias. But yeah, you know, Ice Barrier into Valet looks very, very nice next turn.
Oh boy, this game's about to get real.
My shield for Argus.
Okay, next turn's going to be ridiculous.
Yes.
Okay.
There are various levels of ridiculous that next turn could be, depending on exactly what happens with
It's going to hit both golems. 100% of the time.
even if it does, the 6-mana Blizzard and the 4-mana Blizzard now being paired together with a Doomsayer, he probably just beats Doomguard summoning double Silverware Golem. That's how savage this matchup is.
Well, when you were saying last time, like, you know, Freeze Mage might even be more powerful in a lot of matchups than it was before the expansion.
Yep.
Even with the lack of Ice Lance and Kobold. And this is one of those instances where Glyph especially just allows you to do things you shouldn't be allowed to do. Even, you know, Meteor is a fantastic card I love off Glyph.
Yep.
Gets some amazing work done. And becomes very nice. What is it? It becomes 4 mana?
If you take it off Glyph, it starts at 6.
Yeah, it's 6 mana, right? Yeah,
Yep.
so 4 mana Meteor is exceptional.
It's one of the few ways where I've had significant success against Inner Fire Priest with Freeze Mage.
Bomb it with a Meteor.
Right, it's like, because quite often in the early game, they'll just make a 12-12 or 14-14 and just smash you with it. This is the moment. Gets one Silverware
Not bad.
Golem and holds on to the Soulfire, which is very, very nice.
And the second Silverware, even though obviously if it's discarded, it would go onto board anyway, but
Exactly.
it's got almost guaranteed synergy next to it.
But, hello, have you mentioned the fact that we can now Blizzard and Doomsayer on turn 6 because Glyph is unfair?
I've not, but you just did,
Yeah.
and did my job for me. Yes, as you said, Glyph allows you to do things you shouldn't be allowed to do, which in games, sometimes it's called cheating, but sometimes it's just called how the game works, and this is going to work in Bulgaria's favor to a large extent here, as there is almost no... There isn't an answer, right? There's no answer.
Soulfire, tap Soulfire.
Okay, there's one answer. Very unlikely.
I mean, even if he drew second Soulfire now, he could still dodge the discard on the two Soulfires, but that would be like a clean answer that's always guaranteed to work.
Well,
This is fine. It just means the Doomsayer gets a little bit more value later on.
it's not like your opponent can not play minions and play around it, right?
Right.
It's one of the reasons why Freeze Mage has just always been good versus Zoo, is that your opponent's plan is very straightforward.
Yep.
They're going to keep playing minions and try and punch you in the face. There's not a lot to really think about in terms of knowing your opponent's plan.
Yep.
So then, as you said, by gaining more and more value from almost a guaranteed Blizzard Doomsayer combo, you just, you know, you're making the chances to win just way, way, way more likely.
So it looks like Argus coming down and now discard the second Silverware Golem as well is the play that Switzerland are looking at here. If that happens, then we do really start to get into the territory where there's just no possible answer to a Doomsayer and a Frozen board, unless there is, of course, the crazed Alchemist technology in the deck as well, which is sometimes included as that big answer. And I think if you're bringing Zoo to tournament right now, you are trying your very, very best to beat Doomsayers.
Yeah. Yeah, and also the benefit of Alchemist is it's not completely linear in that fact. It's like, you can change a Doomguard's attack round. You know, you can actually get a lot of work done with it. It's not completely there only for a Doomsayer as well. But we are going to see the Primordial Glyph Blizzard combined with the Doomsayer here. And let's see what's Team Switzerland. Oh, we did get the Soulfire as well. And the okay. Well, Devil Sorek is probably as good as it was ever going to get here. You play that, get a 5/5 on your opponent's turn. And now, you know, that's kind of saving grace here for Darkies. By no means out of the, you know, out of trouble here. But that was as good as it was ever going to get, I think.
Yeah. Still, fireballing that is perfectly fine. There's limited burst in this deck now.
Tempo Antonidas, go.
I mean, that's also not ridiculous. I'm definitely not against that play. I know you're suggesting it as a joke, but it's actually just kind of fine.
I mean, it works
if you
out
wanna
fine,
go with
right?
that. But yeah, although there's limited resources in the deck now in terms of burn, you don't need anywhere near all of it against Zoo.
Nope.
They do half your work for you just by making sure that they have enough resources to keep pressuring you, and then just, you know, one Pyroblast and one Fireball once you're protected by Ice Block is probably going to be good enough to get the job.
And there's still just a lot of minions left in the deck. We can see Acolyte, Loot Hoarder, there's another Loot Hoarder, another Acolyte, I think. And then also there's the Archaeologists that we've not even seen yet, you know, which still don't sound crazy, but still 2/3s to start chipping away.
That BM Knife Juggler pickup probably means he's going to have to Soulfire this Acolyte of Pain, and yeah, he's going to commit to it. And a life tap, try and fill out this minion curve, get a little bit of pressure going yet again. Frost Nova picked up now for Bulgaria, and Antonidas Frost Nova on 10 is a game-ending play against Zoo most of the time.
Yeah, and there's Archaeologist as well, so an easy turn here for Bulgaria. You can draw a secret, play it, play the Loot Hoarder, and ping.
Would they rather have block or barrier at this point? Probably block, because block is the guarantee that you can get there with, like I said, you get Antonidas in play, and then you have the guaranteed amount of turns that you need to end the game. But there's nothing wrong with Ice Barrier #2 in this spot either. I mean, you're at effective 30. Do get the block, though, so there is that guaranteed extra turn that they potentially need.
I think, like, block is checkmate, but what would barrier be better with? I think block just guarantees it, right? Because of the Antonidas Frost Nova, but I think both of them pretty much guarantee at this point.
Yeah, that's fair. Seems like a fair
I was trying to think if,
assessment.
like, Eater of Secrets changed anything, but it
Not
doesn't,
really,
right?
no.
It really just doesn't.
I think this game you have a very good chance of beating Eater of Secrets, even if if this one card, the Pterodax in Dark's hand, was an Eater of Secrets this game. I think Silent Storm, if he chooses to play around it, could still comfortably win this game, beating an Eater of Secrets.
Antonidas Frost Nova, right?
Yeah,
like,
right.
you don't care about your secrets if they can't attack you.
Yeah.
Yeah, this has just not gone Dark's way at all, but this is one of the problems as well. Like, you bring a deck like Zoo, and even if you think the deck is good or strong against a lot of the field, you can just run into Freeze Mage in this format. You don't know who you're playing against until it's already pre-decided, so you can't even say, oh, I'll play against that guy, I know he hates Freeze Mage. You can't do that. Although, interestingly enough, and we'll find out this tomorrow, one player has challenged another player to queue first when they play tomorrow. And I want to see if that happens, because that would be great. That's something that can actually go on.
Is it the last match?
It's USA versus
Right.
Netherlands.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
So
we'll
see. Yeah, we'll see if that happens, as that will be kind of funny. But back to this game, it doesn't look like Dark's got anything, as we can see. This is going to really help him here. He just gets a reasonable Pterodax off though, but it's just not going to be enough. Then there's Glyph next turn as well, with a guaranteed Antonidas.
So you've seen 2 Soulfires, 1 Doomguard. So, I don't know, like Crazed Alchemist into Doomguard to trade is the only way your Antonidas dies?
Or Siphoned Soul.
Alright, in terms of cards that might actually get played in Zoo, Raven.
I'm just saying. Maybe.
But yeah, Tony Frostnova will end the game here. That 1 Fireball will very quickly turn into 2. Combining that with the Ice Block and the guaranteed free turn that is in play from that Ice Block means that this is just going to be GG.
So he can tap first and have a chance at the Alchemist. Not that it's really going to help.
I think he does tap. Interesting.
Whoa. You do tap first to give you more chances, right?
Oh! Right, because if you tap first and you draw the Alchemist, you play the Alchemist first, then you play the Doom
If you don't
card.
draw it, you get an additional draw.
Discard the card.
Yeah, so a bit of a slip up there from Dark from Switzerland, but like a god, he read our minds and got the trades anyway. I don't think it matters as Fireball this turn.
It's denied auto. There is a phrase that I use a lot. Oh no, it hasn't. He's had to tap himself down to 60.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Fireball,
doesn't change anything.
This turn or next turn into Pyro is not going to be enough. Kind of funny though that actually happened. We were like, yeah, you probably play Crazed Alchemist if you're in this tournament. Oh, we did.
Yeah, I mean, of course you do.
None of that matters.
I was going to elaborate on that discussion, but now we're finally seeing what the decks are, and it is going to be the Taunt Warrior up against the Hunter. That Galaka Crawler is going to be a whiff. It is a River Crocolisk. It's a 2-mana 2/3 beast. That's just fine. I'm sure Bozo will keep it here because the upside of keeping it against a Pirate Warrior versus the downside of keeping it against a Taunt Warrior is so skewed in your favor that it's just almost always a keep.
Versus Taunt, it's still just a beast to have on the board, right?
Exactly.
It can be hit with Adapt from Razormaw. It can be Howlmastered if it lives, if there's no early answers from Warrior. It's actually just a reasonable card, which is why you see it especially played in Hunter as just a reasonable 2-drop. Everything else got thrown away to open up a 1-2-3 curve for Bozo here.
And step number 1, test number 1 from Morgallard passed. He mulligans away the quest against Hunter. I don't think we've seen this happen yet in this tournament.
Yeah, I don't think here, no.
In terms of, any quest deck mulliganing away the quest deliberately, but, this is not a matter of finishing your quest and getting that hero power available to you. A, the game just isn't about that. B, the hero power just isn't that effective against probably the best Death Rattle class in the game in terms of Hunter. So you just send it away because you need maximum chances to draw Fiery War Axe, to draw Ravaging Ghoul, to draw Sleep with the Fishes, all these early answers that you need to stop the board snowballing. If you keep the quest, that's one less card that you can have to be one of those.
Yeah, and this can be difficult. There is high main, there's a reasonable curve, But there is War Axe in hand and 2 shield blocks. And one of the problems here is that genuinely, if your opponent controls the board, because this is what's really weird as well, as opposed to old Control Warrior that was just removal, right? You could be like, okay, well, he won't have removal for this and get something to stick. This is kind of removal with minions, right? So if their minions actually survive and you can't take them down every single turn, you can actually fall behind very easily. High main's a big one to get some power plays through in terms of the taunts. Hyena can actually be really hard to get off unless you have a Tundra Rhino. And yeah, I don't know. A lot of the taunts actually just trade with these minions pretty well. So you need to get ahead really quick and stay ahead.
This is a rough, sorry, this is a rough 50-50 position for Bozo there. One of his plays was stronger against War Axe, i.e. play Galaka Crawler to test for the War Axe because it's a less significant minion to get up. If he plays Galaka Crawler and his opponent goes Coin Ravaging Ghoul, that's probably the end of the game. So he's gone for the play that protects himself against Ravaging Ghoul because that Scavenging Hyena would get buffed significantly by that play being made, but it does mean he walks straight into the more conventional play, which is just Fiery War Axe, kill one of the scariest dudes in your entire deck.
I actually think Razormaw, although an amazing card like full start, is so important in this matchup.
Yes,
like,
I agree.
If that was a Razormaw, suddenly we're talking business. You could have given the minion health plus attack, and suddenly it's like, oh, do I Whirlwind? Do I Whirlwind Coin Axe? Like, that's a lot of development onto the board. Whereas this is just, this is already looking scary in the fact that if this animal comp is dealt with, you're looking dry for a few turns.
And it is. Any option gets dealt with because he drew Whirlwind on the last turn, which means even the 4 health guys just get slapped down. That is the best option, at least. Huffer would have potentially done 8, but that's going to do 4, which is significantly better than Leok.
Yes, I was going to say, that's like the neutral one, right?
Yeah.
Whereas Huffer would have been the best just because you guarantee 4. He could Whirlwind Execute. It's true. If you really want.
Also, actually, to give Leok his props, he would have pushed an extra 2 this turn.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So that's actually the 2 that you missed from it having 2 less power. So actually, all 3 of them were fairly even in that position. They're just all a relatively mediocre play based on the situation and the hand that we can see from Morgulad.
Yeah. I think the Huffer was just the best because 1, it's Huffer, and 2, you guarantee 4.
Yeah, sure.
As opposed to anything else. Because like I said, Whirlwind Execute is a play. Execute not as strong in against Hunter because of all the death rattles. Even Execute in a high main, where you're like, great, but now there's the 2/2s to deal with, you know. So having some sort of heavy like tempo play like this in terms of Whirlwind Execute, you save your weapon for next turn for the 4-drop, which is often the Wolf. Is he gonna go for it? Yeah, I actually like this. I actually like this.
Yeah.
Because you can, like I said, if you just lock Hunter out from a quick start, your taunts are just too big to deal with effectively unless they're running like double Hunter's Mark and can stick minions to deal with them.
Yeah, just going back to the discussion earlier, if he was going to use the Execute that turn, that makes Misha actually the worst one. It was the only one that didn't push any damage.
Maybe that's a reason to use it as well.
It's true.
You blow out, you make the Animal Companion worse. You kind of punish them for it. Duskboar, what a draw after a Whirlwind is played.
2 mana.
Let's go.
Let's get him.
Slightly worse Huffer. And by slightly, I mean way. It's kind of awkward as well. Nothing that fits together. Yeah. There's the safest option. And also kind of negates the War Axe to a weird extent.
Yeah, he could have done with just like a nice juicy Rat Pack off the Macaw that turn. Just something to fill out his curve more nicely. Or a 1-drop that he could have played alongside Crawler and curved out that way. But the 2-drop just made life a little bit awkward, and now there's an issue where, you know, his board state is fine in terms of resiliency, but it's just not scary. It's not putting a clock.
Exactly. This is what I was talking about earlier, where if there's any form of early defense and you don't snowball straight away, you can do this, and this just looks horrible for Switzerland and for the Hunter here, because again, the next turn, like, let's see what he draws. Houndmaster, not bad at all.
It's a big deal.
But it doesn't get through the taunt.
No.
So it's like, and then guess what? They play another taunt on 5, and then you just slowly edge behind and cannot keep up. I want Duskboar Galaka. Get in, Crab Pig combo.
The Duskboar would have been able to trade through with the Houndmaster, but I think if Duskboar was played, Duskboar probably would have been War Axed. Obviously, he is valuing that second charge of his War Axe quite highly. He's being very choosy with what targets he wants to use it on, but I don't think he can leave a 4-1 lying around on the board for too long.
And even with this, imagine there was a kill command, right? the general follow-up is either a cheap minion or a hero power. Kill command onto the 2/6, you trade one in. Are you still like, yeah, well, there goes a kill command, sick, I'm going to play my 5-drop taunt now. You know, it gets really, really difficult, actually. I think the power of Hunter at the average Hunter versus Taunt Warrior is actually quite exaggerated.
I agree.
At least
I
from what I've
completely agree.
played,
Yeah, I completely agree.
It is not just a win.
Yep.
It really isn't. Not with when you're not playing cards like Call the Wild, right?
Right.
Which what used to be a power card.
Yeah.
Because you could get to it.
But as you said, the procession is going to keep on going here, but you can see the power of mulliganing the quest. It's given him these extra cards that he's kind of drawing right in the nick of time. The Whirlwind draw, the Execute that he was able to mulligan into, the Fiery War Axe that he was able to get at the very last moment in the opening mulligan. All of those cards have been massively important this game. And how many would he be on if he did play the quest on turn 1? I think this Hatchling would be number 2,
Yes,
maybe?
this is first.
So, like, yeah, like he just wouldn't be getting anywhere with the quest because he's forced to react to
It'd be a
Hunter
card
plays.
down.
Right, exactly.
And also as well, like, as you know, I've harped on about it a bit, but the power of this opening with Warrior, who needs the quest, right? Like, it's literally not his win condition.
Yep.
Later on, it's this. It's like the taunts are so high health and high enough attack that you just stay ahead. Like, hi, man, well, awesome. But now I clear both minions, and you can actually clear them in a way that both taunts survive. Sorry, one of the taunts survives. And then you clear off the Houndmaster. Well, then, hi, man. Yeah, okay, it trades well. But now there's another taunt to trade into. You just stay that one step ahead, and it gets really difficult until a Dirty Rat Brawl turn clears the board, and then Hunter's out of cards. GG.
All right, I don't actually think we need to say anything else for the rest of this game. Think you pretty much nailed it. Yeah. That's not, of course, the Hunter can make things happen here. It's probably going to need another high main. It might need another Houndmaster. It's going to need there potentially to be, you know, Hydras or at least Stranglethorn Tigers or something of that size also in the deck and be drawn.
It is important to consider what the other big guys are. High mains are always there.
Yeah.
There needs to be something else every single time.
What if he does just, like, rip Call of the Wild on 9? What would your reaction be?
I would love it. I'd just be like, get him! Get him. Huffer, buffer, and tougher. I've missed you on the board at the same time.
I do like that. That
It's
is one of
very
my
nice.
favorite things that you've ever said.
Thank you. No, I think I stole it off someone, but whatever.
Oh, you could have got away with that for so long.
I'm an honest guy. I'm not you.
What?
Okay, so Tundra Rhino is a card that can make...
Actual defamation of character now. Jeez.
You love it. Something you would do. I'm just taking inspiration. Just keep digging the hole.
You expect a letter from my lawyers, right?
Oh my god, sick combo! Tundra Rhino and Duskboar. This is what he's playing towards the whole time. Oh, I just didn't go for it. This actually is more sensible because you clear the board.
Yeah, you clear the board while maintaining
efficient way.
a 3-2 as opposed to just throwing a 4-1 into the ether for no reason.
Would be funny though.
It would be amusing.
So now a Execute would be nice for Morgalad.
Ali Armorsmith seems fairly reasonable as well. That does leave the Tundra Rhino hanging around, though, which is going to be a big issue. But can he afford to brawl in this spot? Of course he has the Dirty Rat as well, so I guess he can.
Yeah.
I guess a better question is, can he afford not to brawl, given that he has no other answer to the Tundra Rhino?
Yeah, I was thinking even a shield block, because he could have coined into Brawl. Worst, you know, like shield block one more draw, see what happens, and then coin into Brawl.
Yeah,
But he's just
I
going to
guess.
go for it. Hammond goes, which is big.
Hello!
Oh my god. No, even with a VM. Okay, Bulgaria, you've made your bed here. So all the other teams they're going to play against now are going to aggressively emote. I would. Crackling Razormaw, though, very, very powerful. Poisonous is going to clear up the Dirty Rat, which is actually as good as it was going to get at this point. Dustboy can't be developed, but still, this is the point, right? This is the exact moment where Bozo hits some trouble here.
Yes.
Does he even play the Dustboy? Is he holding it? Interesting.
You have to play it, right?
I think
I'm aware, like, the reason he doesn't want to play it is that he is scared of Primordial Drake.
Yeah.
Right?
He's playing Stampede.
If Primordial Drake is a card in your opponent's hand right now,
Lose.
you have lost this game 100% of the time, whether you play Dustboar or not. So just play it because it's better in every other world.
Yeah, you have to play it or you won't win anyway. But this is the exact moment. If there is one clear now for Morgalad, he just wins. Can shield block now.
How about a
Goes into-
shield block into Ali Armorsmith? How's that for a turn?
I mean, you just ghoul instead.
Ah,
Taking 4 damage off the board is big.
it is, but I mean, Ali Armorsmith is almost odds on to kill 2 minions and pick up 4 health. He's just going to roll again. Wow.
Why not?
All right.
This ball wasn't meant to be. This hyena's a trooper. He's been through a lot. Good when you're ahead. Terrible when you're dead.
Yeah. This is why when I was building my Hunter deck to try and beat Warrior, I didn't include any of the Hunter's Mark Deadly Shot stuff because, you know, as often as you draw them at the perfect time and just, you know, smash an Alley Armor Smith with them, there are times where you need to draw a minion and you don't draw a minion.
I personally do like Deadly Shots because they're not indicative of you having a board to a certain extent. You don't lose minions for it.
Sure.
And say Taunt Warrior, they normally just drop one taunt per turn and you can deal with it.
Right.
That's oh, hang on a minute. Jewel McCoy, you could be the last hope.
Eh?
Not terrible.
He is a moderately sized dude.
Gold animation on. Hang on, click. No, go right. I've seen Hunter's Mark. I think he's just like dropping his jaw really big. It's funny.
Yeah.
He's munching on something. Fair play. Okay, well, look at him. Ah.
Poisonous again, +1/+1,
Shield, right?
Divine Shield. Most likely Divine Shield, but Poisonous is an option. You'd rather have Poisonous on a small token that's attacking with charge, essentially. I mean, you know, Adapt in general is so much more potent on a minion with charge.
Yes.
Which is why, I think, like, this was one of the first Adapt cards to be revealed, if not the first Adapt card, right? Verdant Longneck?
It was.
And people were trying to evaluate exactly how much Adapt is worth as an effect in terms of mana cost to work out whether this was understated, overstated. The answer to the question is that it's very, very different as to whether your minion can attack that turn or not. So since this card is just self-contained, it's not very powerful.
Then you look at Gentle Megasaur and be like,
Exactly.
Ha!
Right. Gentle Megasaur is the version of this with charge. And
Yeah.
even though it's more situational, you'd much rather have that card in your deck because the effects happen instantly. Instant effects are just, you know, the most powerful things in Hearthstone. That's why we saw Rag being played all the time and we don't see the slower, clunkier
Get
cards.
that value. And now again, this draw like has to be high main.
How many times have you gone down this line?
A lot.
Hey!
God, I'm good at Hunter. Yeah, this is the only chance. Literally, you know, depending on whether they had other big dudes in the deck. High main is probably the only card that gives him a fighting chance. Still difficult with Sleep with the Fishes as well.
This is one of, like, Warrior is the king of making boards where you have no idea what you're supposed to trade into. Like, do you kill the Acolyte to try and deny draws? Do you kill the Armor Smith because it's going to net life in the long run? Do you just hit face because 5's a big number and you're a hunter and you don't want to think more than that? I mean, these are all valid questions, Raven.
Yeah, the last one especially. I mean, look, we cast on the game earlier where just getting aggressive and going face was key.
That was really good, actually.
And there's a high main on the board. That's another card that's good at punching you in the face. And we have seen 0 kill commands.
I believe 0 is the correct number, yeah.
So definitely something you can... When you're in a spot like this, you have to be, exactly like I said before, well, this card has to be high main, this card has to be kill command. That's how you have to play, honestly. I'm not even, like, joking about this. You have to play as if you're going to draw the best cards you can.
I feel like the next card being kill command isn't even good enough, though. Like, the next card needs to be, like, a Swamp King Dread or something ridiculous.
I'm
like,
okay with that.
He needs one more big, chunky idiot to stick on the board.
Shield Slam.
But that Shield Slam is potentially just game-ending now. Second Armor Smith as well. We are going to be wandering back to old Justicar Control Warrior levels of armor very soon.
Yeah, this Shield Slam is gigantic. Because the double trade into Sleep just clears the board. Even if he wants to, he doesn't have to. Oh no, he can just Fire War Axe trade, right?
He can just Fiery War Axe trade. He can choose to do it the value way, or he can just use Sleep with the Fishes to take 0, do it this way instead. And there is 2 armor being net by the Armor Smith. There is complete board control. There are 0 beasts in play, 0 cards in hand from Hunter, 0 hope for Switzerland.
This was a deck with Hunter's Mark in it. Still struggled. Honestly, it's very hard. It's going to sound harsh, but it's very hard when your opponent knows what they're doing. You know what I mean, though?
I mean,
the mulligan of the quest.
Exactly. At the very start, when you queue into an average player, even at legend level on ladder, you see them keeping the quest some of the time. Some of them still do against Hunter, which is just silly. It's just wrong. Like, you throw away the quest every single time. Like, at what point would the quest have won Bulgaria this game?
Has he even played enough taunts?
I'm not even sure. In this, like, I think he might be on like 6 or 7 by now, somewhere
played
around.
2 Alley Armor Smiths, 1 Bloodhoof, 1 Dirty Rat.
Is there not more than that? Did he not play both? I feel like he played 2.
He played the Ornery Hatchling.
Yes,
The 6,
he did, yeah.
That's only 5.
Right.
So even if you played another Bloodhoof, that's only 6, right?
Right.
So as you can see, and as you said,
Yeah,
Like-
exactly. It's just irrelevant. It doesn't ever win you a game that you weren't going to win anyway. There will be games where you feel like you've won because you got the quest off. If you had that much time, you were going to win that game anyway.
Yeah, Hunter doesn't, as you can see, Hunter doesn't do late game. He's even going to pass this turn. I wouldn't blame him.
He needs to live long enough to find and unleash in his second scavenging
Stonehill
hyena,
yeah.
something, I don't know.
Yeah, Stonehill Tar Lord game.
That looks good, yeah.
It just is.
Let's pick the
What?
111. Oh.
What?
He wants to
Goes out.
go this turn, yeah. There's a certain bone in a control warrior's body that just forces them to gain as much armor as they possibly can under every
Seen
circumstance.
one Hunter's mark. You're pretty much immune to deadly shot. Just put the 11 health minion on the board. Double die wolf, not gonna help. It's only getting worse. I wouldn't be too surprised if we concede soon. Looks like Bulgaria has positioned himself to win the series 3-1.
Yeah, now the taunts have come down, even back-to-back Unleash and Hyena.
Yeah, it's just
it
not gonna-
isn't even
not
really
with the
going to make
armor.
a dent, right? Yeah, exactly. The fact that every dog you're trading is giving away 2 armor anyway, your Hyena's only going to get up to, what, 12 attack, 14 attack, somewhere along those lines, depending on how many minions are in play. Like, it's
And the
just
fact
not
that you
happening.
can't trade the armor. So there's, look at Morgalad with the flag. I like it. Bit of a national prayer going in there. Flag as a cloak. I want a flag as a cloak. Just pick whoever flag's winning.
Hey, the quest has shown up. Right on time. Just when we
Rito.
needed you most.
And
Play the quest. Ravaging Ghoul for BM. No? Alright, fine.
so I'm gonna ghoul. Oh. Okay, Alley Cat. Sick draw. Get some value from the double direwolf though.
Sick value.
His positioning. Now he's like, okay, now what? I played my dudes.
Step 1.
Yeah.
Minions have been played.
Yeah.
Question
Step
mark,
2.
question mark, question mark, concede.
Okay, so yeah. Is there actually just lethal on board? It's 8-1 off lethal. If he played the ghoul. Oh no, it would be fine. Would have killed the ghoul, right?
Yeah, he just would have replaced 3 power with 3 power. It wouldn't have made a difference.
Ton of armor.
Speaking of tons of armor. I mean, well played for holding the ghoul. You have to say that much.
Yeah.
It looks pretty solid right now.
Oh my god. Ghoul him.
I mean, he
Stonehill.
played the Stonehill first. I'm telling you.
More armor.
Pathological need for more armor.
Now we play. Oh.
Cornered
oh.
sentry.
Okay, Morgalad, I like your style, friend. I like your style. Well, oh, he didn't let the armor go off. We wanted to sit here for another 10 minutes while all the animations